According to three people briefed on the situation, Jeff Zients, who oversaw President Joe Biden's COVID-19 response effort and held prominent positions in the Obama administration, is anticipated to succeed Ron Klain as the next chief of staff for the White House. Within the next few weeks, Klain is anticipated to resign. On March 10, 2020, in Washington, D.C., on Capitol Hill, Ron Klain, a former White House Ebola response coordinator, testifies before the Emergency Preparedness, Response and Recovery Subcommittee hearing on community perspectives on coronavirus preparedness and response. For Biden, who has entered a crucial phase in both his presidency and his political future, the decision to replace Klain is particularly significant. The early stages of a special counsel investigation into his handling of classified documents have alarmed Democrats and emboldened congressional Republicans, who now control the House majority and have promised their own probes, as he continues to consider whether to run for re-election in 2024. When it became apparent that Klain preferred Zients as his successor, a factor that significantly influenced the president's choice, Biden chose Zients following an internal search. Zients had been chosen by Klain to head a talent search for anticipated staff turnover after the midterm elections, but that ultimately didn't happen because Democrats fared better than predicted. The most notable departure at this point is Klain, who is being replaced by the person he chose to assist in recruiting new team members. Klain will stay involved and close to the West Wing, according to a source. Biden will continue to receive advice from his core political and legislative team, which consists of Steve Ricchetti, Anita Dunn, Mike Donilon, Jen O'Malley Dillon, Bruce Reed, and Lisa Terrell. When Jack Lew served as Obama's chief of staff, others, like David Plouffe, concentrated more on his political portfolio, as opposed to Zients. He now plays that role. As he enters his third year in office, Biden is replacing Klain with Zients, a consultant who has more business than political experience. Given that Biden and Zients' management philosophies differed early in the administration, the choice of Zients surprised some people internally. However, when Zients inherited what officials described as a largely dysfunctional effort by the Trump administration, Biden was pleased with his work as the coronavirus response coordinator. The fact that Zients is regarded internally as a master implementer, according to one source, and that this period of Biden's presidency will be focused on implementing the legislation passed during his first 2 years, was another consideration in the search. He handled the coronavirus response and assisted with the disastrous 2013 launch of healthcare during the Obama administration, putting his operational skills on display. Zients and Biden, as well as several of his senior advisors and cabinet members, are now more close. On January 12, 2023, in Washington, President Joe Biden answers questions from reporters after discussing the economy in the South Court Auditorium of the Eisenhower Executive Office building. The White House acknowledged on Saturday, January 14, that Biden's attorneys discovered more classified documents than was previously known at his Wilmington, Delaware home. Biden and his advisors are under public lockdown due to the documents investigation, but they believe the controversy will pass quickly. While Zients is not viewed as a political operator, his deep experience inside two administrations and his reputation for technocratic skill would likely serve as assets at a time when both are viewed as critical for what Biden faces in the year ahead. Still, he will be tasked with replacing an official who was a central force inside the administration, and someone with a rapport developed over decades with Biden himself. Klain, who had long planned to depart the White House after Biden's first 2 years, has targeted the weeks after the February 7 State of the Union address for the end of his tenure. A number of top officials have been viewed as top candidates to succeed Klain, including cabinet members and close Biden advisors such as Ricchetti, counselor to the president, and Dunn, the senior advisor with a wide-ranging strategy and communications portfolio. But while Zients isn't among the tight-knit circle of long-tenured Biden advisors, he's been deeply intertwined with the team since the 2020 campaign, when he served as co-chairman of Biden's transition outfit. After the election, Biden tapped Zients to lead the administration's COVID-19 response effort, as he entered office with the country facing dueling public health and economic crises. While Zients left that role last spring, he was once again brought into White House operations a few months later, when Klain asked him to lead the planning for the expected turnover inside the administration that historically follows a president's first midterm elections. Zients was tasked with conducting a wide and diverse search for prospective candidates outside the administration to fill cabinet, deputy cabinet and senior administration roles, officials said, in an effort that would be closely coordinated with White House counterparts. But even as wide-scale turnover has remained minimal for an administration that has taken pride in its stability in the first 2 years, now, the official leading the planning effort may soon shift into one of, if not the, most critical role set to open. The high point for the administration, the White House Chief of Staff, is a grueling and all-consuming post in any administration, and Klain's deep involvement across nearly every key element of process, policy and politics, touching the West Wing, only serve to elevate that reality. A longtime Washington hand with ties Democratic administrations and Biden that cross several decades, Klain is departing at a moment that officials inside the West Wing have spent the last several months viewing as a high point. U.S. President Joe Biden delivers a Christmas address from the Cross Hall of the White House in Washington, D.C., on December 22, 2022. Biden and his team feeling vindicated by a 2022 turnaround built on the same decades-old principles. Biden entered 2023 on the heel of midterm elections that resulted in an expanded Senate majority for his Democratic Party and the defiance of widespread expectations of massive GOP victories in the House. The sweeping and far-reaching cornerstones of Biden's legislative agenda have largely been signed into law, the result of a series of major bipartisan wins, paired with the successful navigation of inter-party disputes to secure critical Democratic priorities. Biden has made clear to advisors that the successful implementation of those laws, which is now starting to kick into high gear across the administration, is one of their most critical priorities for the year ahead. But Zients will also inherit a West Wing now faced with a new House Republican majority that is girding for partisan warfare and wide-scale investigations into the administration and Biden's family.